I hope Tony Stoddart got fired, because there's no actual programming in this game. Other identical music. They ripped 4 chords from The Dark. They're no longer solvent. I can't make any comments about Mirage, though. And here we are. Rise of the Robots. A game I really don't want to play. Oh well. And 1 player. Mission brief. I guess that's the one advantage to this game over the other two, is assuming nothing goes wrong, and something will probably go wrong, I can probably finish this in about 15 minutes. There's only about 6 guys. This actually looks pretty good. I mean, it's clearly just padding the game time, but at the same time, the way that they just go over all the different sort of tactical aspects of the opponent is kind of neat. And the FMVs are rather nice. I don't know too many Super Nintendo games that have them. I don't think the Genesis version had them, though. And aside from the fact that they're not terribly well defined, the sprites are kind of nice. Kick, 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 kick. And thus we get to the problem of this game. You can just win by kicking them in the corner. There's, like, no real actual strategy to playing this game. And with the exception of one guy who is incredibly cheap, they're not terribly hard. They just progressively hit you harder and take a lot more damage themselves. Alright, round 1. But yeah, aside from the fact that your characters are hard to tell where they begin and end, they look fairly good. The animation's a little rough, though. Every move has, like, maybe 3 frames. So his leg just sort of teleports from beneath him to right in front of him. Also, the perspective on the loader guy I'm fighting right now, it's a little weird, because it looks like it's an angled shot of the character I'm playing as, the stupid Blue Man Group reject. But it looks like it's directly beside, or if not behind, the loader guy I'm fighting, so the camera perspective seems a little wonky. Yeah, he's down. And I win. Because that was incredibly easy. And this looks pretty good too. Unfortunately, this feels like they just focused on style and just shilling rather than actually making a game. Oh yeah, it's Monkey Kong. Awesome. I think I can skip these actually, but might as well just get as much footage as I can. And while it's kind of neat that these FMVs are in here, it just feels like there's no reason for them to be here aside from just padding the cart with more data. Like, these FMVs really don't add much. Alright, this guy's incredibly stupid. He typically backs himself into a corner pretty much immediately, like that. And then he just shakes his head because every time you actually hit your opponent or you get hit, there's actually a small bit of stun time. And in between that, you can basically just walk up and still kick them. Unfortunately, the next guy really abuses that. And you're not really going to see it here, but this guy actually has a little bit more range than my character, which... that's not that big a deal because he's not that hard, and it's not too much of a range difference, but it becomes a massive problem with the next guy. Come on. Ooh, now he's fighting back. Also keep an eye on how much damage I take per hit. That actually comes into effect later. Alright, round 2. Between Big Blue, guy whose arm seems to be jutting out of his mouth. And again, the camera seems weirdly at an angle that's like 45 degrees in front of him. Looks like they just modeled the characters weird. Because there's no consistency between the camera. Kick, kick, get back in the corner. But that's really all this game is just kicking the guy in the corner. And this was supposed to be the killer app of 1994. I mean, they plan to have movies, action figures, comic books. I think a novel was actually made. When I was looking this up on Amazon, I saw it for like a penny, so maybe I'll have to pick that up and see what that's like. Down he goes. On result, I win because I'm angry the Blue Man Group didn't accept me. And down goes the Donkey Kong knockoff. Next is this guy who I can't tell what's going on with his sprite, and even the FMV animation, like, they didn't put any background behind him, so even then you can't get a good look at him. He's entirely green, but this guy is absolutely, without a doubt, the hardest guy in the game. Every other character does a lot more damage than this guy, but, well, every guy past this, but this guy's got the same problem the last guy did, that he has more range than I do, except his horrible rape radius is about 3/4 the entire screen. So, this is where the greatest chance of me losing comes from. And look at that sprite, I mean, what's going on with that? I can't tell. Kick. Ugh, come on. This guy likes to abuse the stun time. Kick, 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 kick. Kick, kick, kick. But you can stun him too. So as long as he doesn't start jump kicking you, you'll be okay. Kick, get in the corner. And in case you haven't been able to tell yet, these guys progressively do way more damage to you. And being able to reach 3/4 of the screen, he takes me out. But that's okay, because I've got another shot at him. And here we go, you bastard. Kick, 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 kick. There's really no strategy to this game. Just kick them into a corner. And kind of hope this guy doesn't beat you because he's incredibly broken. Kick. And the thing is I think this game would actually have potential to be a good game if they just focused on actually making the game rather than just shilling itself out. And that's the thing, it was just a giant corporate shill. Kick, 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 kick. Oh, come on, kick. Come on. Oh, well. I got knocked out. I'll just have to try again. And here's our knockoff. He was human all along. My god. But at least we'll get to continue so we can keep going. No. No. You motherfucker! Part and grind it with a cheese grater, you son of a bit. Oh, he's dead. I hate that guy. I still can't tell what the hell's going on with him in this shot. Like, he's just got such a weird sprite. This guy's probably the closest thing to an actual reasonable fight in this game, as his frame is very similar to yours, but he does a hell of a lot more damage. Like I touched on this in my review, is they didn't actually give any adaptive AI to this game, or any of the robots like they planned. I like the slow motion run here. But instead, they basically gave them all a brain-dead AI and just got them all to have sequentially more HP and... or NRG, I suppose as it says in this game, and just hit harder. But this guy actually has the same basic frame as you, so it's not as bad, and it's nowhere near as broken a fight as the last one. I didn't touch on this in my review because I don't like talking about multiplayer. I don't think you should judge a game or a game's merit based on multiplayer. I think they should be completely unrelated. But seeing as this is not a review, I'll touch on it here. As sequentially as these robots get stronger, that actually carries into the multiplayer. Second player gets to pick whatever robot he wants, so they could either be like the super weak loader, which will get his ass kicked, or everything else, which is more powerful than the cyborg, and player one's still stuck as the cyborg. And that is why you will never see Rise of the Robots at EVO, because it's completely broken. Also, I imagine everyone would just pick the green guy. Just because he's so completely just decimates everything. But they all have the same stupid brain-dead AI. They never actually... I have to imagine they never actually bothered to QA test this game. They're too busy putting out demos and planning comic books to actually test their shit. Which is why I always say you never make a game solely to be a marketing tool. You want your game to be a marketing tool, that's fine, but you have to make it as a game first. Streets of Rage was kind of like this, but an even better example would be something like Cool Spot. I mean, that was an actual, legitimately fun game. But at the same time, it was just shilling out 7-Up, but no one actually cared because it was just fun. This game is not fun. It's not fun. It's awful, and I just imagine that's entirely attributed to pouring all their money into hyping this and just planning all this extra merchandise to be associated with this brand that never took off. This guy hits hard. He's also much bigger than I am, though. And you can still just kick him in the corner. But now it should be really apparent that these guys do a lot more damage than I do. I think starting with the monkey, they actually do a lot more damage than you. The loader's the only thing that's functionally weaker than you. But this guy's not even funny how much health he takes off. I don't recall how much the next guy takes off, though, just because I've never actually seen them attack. Like, literally just kick them into a corner, and they just never bothered to react. They were too busy blocking, which doesn't seem to actually do anything in this game. Kick, kick, kick. He also seems to have a lot more health than me. Kick, kick, kick. But he's not any smarter than me. Not that you have to be smart to beat this game. You could literally just have a piece of tape on your directional pad and just have like a water drinking bird just tap the A button over and over just to keep kicking. And they'd probably win. This is not fun. And this was released on, like, literally every console that existed in '94. Okay, I take it back. This CGI cutscene, FMV, is the best thing ever in this game. Just kicking him off without even bending your legs. Final boss. But yeah, this was on, like, a dozen or so different consoles, and each one of them got, like, just completely ruined in some way. I think the Amiga version didn't have any audio. The Genesis version had downgraded sprites and had to deal with the Genesis audio. And the Genesis can put out some decent audio so long as the game is kind of created around the Genesis hardware, but this game clearly wasn't. I'm not sure this was created with any hardware in mind. I think it's general consensus the Super Nintendo version is the best of them, but they all have a bunch of completely different problems. Yeah, still not attacking. And this is the final boss. To a game back in the day you'd pay $60 to buy. Whoa. She does have an attack. Neat. But she's basically just a shitty knockoff of Dural. And even then, Dural wasn't all that interesting a fight, but at the very least you fought underwater with, like, messed up gravity, and that was at least interesting. This girl just morphs into giant strings of metal. Actually, she kind of reminds me a little bit of Taffy from Clay Fighter. Just because of how, like, stringy she is, but Clay Fighter, as average a game as that is a infinitely better game than this. Oh, this is painful to play. It's just awful. The music is painfully average. You only get to play as one character, but I can see story reasons for that. The animation is lackluster. They probably were just focusing solely on the FMV sequences. That was the final boss, by the way. Done. And this was to be sold for $60. I beat it in like 15 minutes or so. That's some old school CGI right there. Sort of like breaking into like a bunch of shards instead of just sort of turning into metal, like liquid metal. And then this is one of the dumbest things ever. They just like repeat all the FMVs in a sequence. And for all of that, you get a code to use the final boss in multiplayer to give the second player an even greater advantage against the first player. And on top of that, as much as I'm hitting start right now, you can't skip this, and at the end, if you watch all the way to the end of this, it literally just tells you to power off the console, then power it back on. This game is terrible. Right there, if you actually have the game and you've never bothered to play through story mode, there's the code for the final boss. Enjoy it. But I sincerely hope you don't ever have to play this, because it is a horrible, horrible piece of shit. Special thanks. Support and advice? Jesus. What did they advise? Please, yeah, see? Please log off when finished with the terminal. They literally could not program in a way to dump you back to the start screen. Awesome. Done. I'm done.